Dear colleagues, we will continue now our conference with session 2, IPEX-related issues. One of the objectives of interparliamentary cooperation in the EU is to promote the exchange of information and best practices between the national parliaments of the European Union. IPEX, as a network of people and digital systems, play a decisive role to allow us to exchange information in a more effective and open way. We will continue to establish IPEX as a reliable one-stop shop for interparliamentary cooperation in the Union, which makes not only our work more transparent, but also enhances transparency in the whole of the European Union. With these small remarks, I would like to kindly invite Peep, the Secretary General of the Estonian Parliament, to present us the IPEX Annual Report 2018 and the draft conclusions on IPEX. The Estonian Parliament has been in charge of the IPEX board since April 2018, and after the Speakers' Conference in this April, the Austrian Parliament will take over the chairmanship of the IPEX board. I suggest that we first get an overview of the IPEX annual report and the draft conclusions, and then I will open the floor for your remarks. Our task today is to approve the report and to adopt the proposed conclusions. Without any further delay, I'm giving now the floor to Mr. JAHILO. Please, Peep.
Dear Mr. Chairman, dear colleagues, that's my pleasure to share some thoughts about IPEX from the position of the chair of the IPEX board. So one wise man has said that the IPEX is not just a format, but it also has the brain and soul. The brain of IPEX is its information system. The soul of IPEX is its correspondence network that fills the information exchange platform with data. Both parts of IPEX, the brain and soul, have to work and develop in synergy. Otherwise, the whole mechanism would become erratic and unreliable. Last year, during the Estonian presidency of the IPEX board, we tried to keep this in mind to find the balance between further developing the information system and motivating the IPEX correspondents in their work. IPEX correspondence meeting last year focused on how national parliaments communicate EU affairs to the public. The information about the traditional scrutiny is shared via traditional channels like the websites of national parliaments. Many national parliaments also have the open debates on EU matters either in the plenary or the committee level. This encourages direct participation of citizens or interest groups in the European Union decision-making. Over the last years, the role of national parliaments in the European Union has changed mainly through the introduction of the subsidiarity control mechanism, which has turned national legislators into European Union actors. Here, the national parliaments, in cooperation with the European Parliament, have established the IPEX website for interparliamentary information exchange and for keeping the public informed on the work as European Union actors. The voters keep an eye on the work of the parliamentarians, and Europeans have the right to know how active their national parliaments are in European Union matters, especially in comparison with other national parliaments. IPEX paves a way for such evaluation and comparisons as it makes the work of the national parliaments as European Union actors visible. It also encourages voters and researchers to ask why some parliaments are very active in raising subsidiarity concerns and others are not so much. I believe that we should not see IPEX exclusively as a tool of the disposal of the parliaments. We should place IPEX into the broader context and see its benefits from the angle of democratic legitimacy and accountability. Bearing this in mind, I would like to highlight two aspects of the development and use of IPEX. First, quality of information. Effective parliamentary work of European Union matters depends largely on the amount and especially on the quality of information that the parliaments receive. In this light, the work done by IPEX correspondents in uploading the information, news and other documents into the IPEX database is crucial. It is extremely important that the information uploaded to IPEX is up-to-date and reliable, and refers to contact persons who can give more background information if somebody wants to dig deeper in the matter. The parliamentary frequently ask information about subsidiarity concerns raised by other parliaments, or opinions or decisions that other parliaments take on the specific topics they are dealing with. For example, the advisors of the EU Affairs Committee of the Parliament of Estonia use IPEX as one of the sources for preparing short summary memos, which play an important role in decision-making. All such memos include information on the subsidiarity concerns raised by other national parliaments. The members of the European Union Affairs Committee are used to receiving such information and frequently raise additional questions on subsidiarity problems discovered by other parliaments. In this way, IPEX correspondents, as mediators of information, have the power to influence not only the prioritization of the European dossiers in the national parliaments, but also to help to mobilize the national parliaments to issue yellow cards. Uploading scrutiny information on IPEX in languages we all understand is essential in this process, as is upgrading scrutiny information on IPEX at an early stage whenever possible. Furthermore, the members of the Riigikogu, the Estonian parliament, very often ask questions on how other national parliaments deal with European Union matters. For example, how other scrutiny systems work. IPEX should include up-to-date information on this matter as well. We, as Secretaries General, can influence the work on can influence the quality of the work on IPEX correspondence by recognizing their efforts and encouraging them to improve their efficiency if needed. Parliamentary officials have an important role in supporting members of Parliament in conducting parliamentary scrutiny. Although the number of the role of parliamentary staff varies largely, there are certain similarities between all the national parliaments. For example, the parliaments have so-called parliamentary liaisons in Brussels, and this network operates as an informal channel for quick information exchange. This network in Brussels is especially important in the early stages of parliamentary scrutiny or subsidiarity checks. Secondly, another efficient network for sharing information between national parliaments is ECPRD. The main activities of this network involve dealing with the requests of other parliaments to compare the legislative activities and parliamentary practices across different countries in Europe. All national parliaments have appointed ECPRD correspondents and deputy correspondents who act as a link between the centre and their own parliaments. Last but not least, the staff of the European Union Affairs Committee is also important, as all national parliaments have set up one or more European Affairs Committees. Usually, these are the people who form the core users of the IPEX. In smaller parliaments, as in ours, they also contribute to IPEX. By encouraging the cooperation between Brussels liaisons, IPEX correspondents, ECPRD correspondents, and EU Affairs Committee advisors, we can make the work of EU matters more efficient and enhance networking. I invite you to support this kind of closer cooperation among your parliamentary staff. Awareness of the European Union dimension has to improve inside the national parliaments as well. The people dealing with European Union matters should know each other inside as well as outside of the national parliaments. Next, I will summarize the work of the IPEX board in 2018. The basis of the board is our digital strategy. The strategy stresses the importance of the IPEX network and the transparency to show the citizens the national parliaments are democratic, vibrant, and active in the European Union decision-making. The digital strategy is a framework for the future use of resources and ideas for developing IPEX. In practice, board started to prepare the 3-year working programs of the digital strategy, including concrete activities to complete the strategy, and divided the work between 3 working groups. During Estonia's chairmanship, the IPEX board adopted the 3-year work programs on enhancing the IPEX network and on promoting IPEX. These working programs will be complemented through the working group on enhancing the IPEX network and the working group on promotion, respectively. The action plan on enhancing the IPEX network divides activities into 2 categories: initiatives and studies. In my opinion, the most important initiatives in this working program are to ensure that the translation of the reasoned opinions and the documents of the political dialogue continues, to develop a strategy to improve and support the work on IPEX correspondence, to launch the study program with the European Institute on Public Administration, and to enhance the cooperation with COSAC and Joint Parliamentary Scrutiny Group on Europol. I am very pleased to follow the process of the integration of the COSAC and Europol Scrutiny Group documents into the IPEX network. There are 2 studies that this working group intends to carry on: an analysis with recommendations for enhancing the early exchange of information and subsidiarity, and an analysis with recommendations for improving the exchange of information between national parliaments on general scrutiny. So about promoting IPEX, the action plan prepared by the working group on promoting concentrates on the production of the IPEX tutorial video, how to use video, printed handouts, and a paper on the best practices for promoting IPEX. The paper on the best practices was adopted in October last year and contained proposals like writing Wikipedia articles on IPEX in official languages, linking IPEX to Parliament's websites or intranet, and IPEX-related training for officials, MPs, assistants of political groups. Social media has been the topic that we have discussed last year at all IPEX-related meetings, engaging IPEX correspondents, users, and the board. Last week, the IPEX board decided to form a working group for social media. This allows us to start gathering information about the social media strategies of national parliaments and to analyze them, to prepare pilot projects, to test social media possibilities regarding IPEX, and to provide input for future IPEX working documents on possible activities related to social media and IPEX. On the topic of improving the IPEX digital system, I would like to highlight that IPEX users stressed at the conference in Stockholm last year that a well-functioning IPEX forms an important part of the scrutiny process of the parliaments. For example, the users suggested that the IPEX board should look for ways to improve the IPEX search function, make the website more device-friendly, highlight the high-activity dossiers, include more videos or pictures on the IPEX front page, and improve the news section. At its last meeting, the IPEX board gave an initial approval to the reports on improvements proposed by the working group on improving the IPEX digital system. This approval gave a green light to in-depth analysis and the assessment of related efforts. The improvements proposed in this report are based on the findings of detailed survey, the input of all 3 IPEX working groups, the mentioned users conference, and many other sources. The proposed improvements will make the IPEX website more attractive, make navigation clear and logical, and improve the ease of use on mobile devices. The purpose of including new content is to make the website a comprehensive source of information about EU-related parliamentary activities. Personally, as a user of IPEX, I look forward to the activities in this field. To summarize, I would like to borrow the words of Albert Einstein, who said that life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep going. IPEX has shown a willingness to evolve over time into a more user-friendly environment for the exchange of parliamentary information that covers the whole range of European Union issues and to becomes a so-called one-stop shop for parliamentary administrations. IPEX is ready to take on new challenges and must develop from a website with only mainly static information into a dynamic environment that contains various types of information like news, videos, and photos. IPEX should be more than just an instrument. It should be a comprehensive source of information about EU-related parliamentary activities. Therefore, as you can see, the work on IPEX is far from complete. Otherwise, we would not be discussing it here today. In this light, let me inform you very briefly about the composition of the IPEX board in 2019 to 2020, which is as follows. Chair of the board, Estonia, ex officio, until the Conference of Speakers of Parliaments of the European Union member states in April 2019 in Vienna. Ex officio members of the board are also Austria, after the Conference of the Speakers of the Parliaments of the European Union member states, like acting chair, Romania, both chambers, Finland, and the European Parliament. Members willing to contribute to the board and its activities: Belgium, both chambers, Bulgaria, Denmark, France, both chambers, Germany, Bundestag, Greece, Italy, both chambers, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, both chambers, Poland, both chambers, Portugal, Slovakia, and Sweden. According to the IPEX guidelines, COSAC Secretariat, the ECPRD, the European Commission, and the Council also participate in the IPEX board meeting and contribute to those. I also remind you that those parliaments that do not participate in the IPEX board have the opportunity to join by informing us on their wish before we adopt the IPEX conclusions today. To conclude, we would like to emphasize that IPEX is a successful and well-functioning project between the national parliaments with the support of the European Parliament. This success is based on the dedication on the work of the IPEX board members, IPEX correspondents, and the IPEX information officer. As Estonia's first presidency of the IPEX board will end soon, I would like to sincerely thank all the board members for their dedication and work. I wish a great success to the next chair of the board. Good luck, Austria, and thank you for your attention.
Mr. Secretary General, thank you very much for this good overview on IPEX-related issue. Just to repeat one of the last remarks, addressing the question to possibly join the IPEX board. So if there are any additional wishes to do so, please communicate this to the Estonian chairmanship, and it will be dealt by Estonia. We can now move on to a short debate. I have two requests for comments before me. The first will be Mr. Remco Nemelman from...
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me first thank you for hosting the meeting of the Secretaries General and for the wonderful dinner we had last night in the Epstein Palace. For me, it's the first time an EU meeting in this content, and I attend, and as I have just recently been appointed as the Secretary General of the Senate of the Netherlands. And I also want to thank my Estonian colleague and all the board members of the IPEX board for all the work that has been done. I would just like to say a few words on IPEX and how it can further develop from a platform for the exchange of information between parliaments in the EU towards a strategic tool for parliamentarian cooperation. Last week, the Dutch House of Representatives has approved its lists of priorities from the Commission Work Programme for 2019 and has shared this list on IPEX. And the Senate is currently choosing its own priorities and will share this with you on IPEX as well. And I know that many other parliaments have a similar procedure, and so I would like to call on these administrations to upload the information on IPEX on the scrutiny page of the Commission Work Programme in a legislative database. However, to make this information more visible and usable, it would be helpful if at any point an overview could be made on IPEX with all the priorities chosen by national parliaments. Then we can all see which topics generate the most interest or concern and possibly seek cooperation on these topics in an early stage of a scrutiny procedure. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. The next one, Ms. Bernil Deleur.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like very much to thank the Estonian chairmanship and the IPEX board for its excellent work. I think IPEX has come a very long way since we started many years ago now. For example, all web pages now, all interparliamentary web pages are now integrated on IPEX, which makes IPEX actually the central EU portal for all national parliaments, and I think that's a really excellent work. Now, we would like very much to support the Dutch proposal for an overview of all the priorities of our national parliaments in relation to the Commission Working Programme. We have the same procedure in the Danish Parliament, so that I think would be very useful for all of us to see. And secondly, I have a small request from the national representatives of our parliaments in Brussels, and that is if perhaps the board could look into creating a small page where we can find information about what the national representatives in Brussels does, contact information and small things like that. So that was all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernil. Peep, is there a need for an answer from your side? No. If not, I thank you, Mr. JAHILO, and I take it that the IPEX Annual Report 2018 and the conclusions are approved, and we take note of the report submitted by the IPEX Information Officer. Thank you very much. To conclude this session, I would like to thank the Estonian IPEX chairmanship. Estonia has met its goals, and the Austrian Parliament will try hard to build on the good example provided by Estonia. Thank you very much, Peep.